Shopify went up by 0.67% on Friday and by 0.66% in the after hours, while the entire market was bearish. What does this mean for the Shopify stock? We'll answer that by going through recent news as well as my chart analysis and price prediction. So stay focused and subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for regular stock market updates. First up, Jeff Hoffmeister, who once worked for Morgan Stanley, has been appointed as Shopify's Chief Financial Officer, and Kaz Nejatian has been promoted to the rank of the Chief Operations Officer. This development came out after Shopify laid off about 70 employees a few weeks ago, stating miscalculated revenue projections. The biggest speculation that investors are eyeing, however, is Google acquiring Shopify to compete against Amazon. But with the current price action, investors are in panic as Shop has fallen from a price of $35 to $28 in the month of September. But still, an analyst from the Bank of Canada has maintained a price target of $60 regardless. And with the Fed working to control inflation so aggressively, Shopify might go up once a deflation trend begins. With all that in mind, let's analyze the charts. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the one-day chart for Shopify, and as always, we'll first analyze the one-day chart, then the one-hour chart, and to end it off, we'll get into the 5-minute chart. But right off the bat, you guys can see that we closed Friday at a price of $28.76. We started the day off in a gap down at $28.4, I believe, and we made a low of, let me mark this low level, about $27.6, I would say. Now, I already told you guys in my previous analysis that the stock won't hit the $38 level anytime again, right? Anytime soon at least. So let me mark that as well. The $38 level, as you guys can see, once we went up, we were on the way to touch that, but we obviously made a lower high somewhat, right? Obviously, it was a higher high from this level. But then, as you guys can see, we made a lower low, which pretty much dismissed the opportunity, or rather the possibility, of a bullish trend. Now, if we take a look at the bigger picture, rather at least a few months old, we can see that this support zone over here around 29.75 and $30 was broken over here on, what was this, 6th September. And after that, I already told you guys that the stock won't hit the $38 level. After that, as you guys can see, this over here, 13th September was the day when the entire Nasdaq crashed. And right over here, you guys can see that we've been in somewhat of a bearish trend, a pretty sharp bearish trend for the past week, I would say, right? As you guys can see, we made somewhat of a bearish engulfing candle over here, and we might go down even further. And especially as you guys might know that China is facing pretty much of an economic and a political crisis. So if that does not get sorted, well, it probably won't, but as you guys already know that those scenarios definitely affect the Nasdaq, and I believe that Monday will be in a gap down somewhat, even though we already saw that the after hours were positive, so that indicates of a gap up. But the news that just came out, I can't obviously discuss it, but it was pretty, I would say, disturbing for a lot of people, and it would definitely disturb the worldwide economy as well. And as you guys already know that Shopify has previously relied a lot on China. So what exactly is my price prediction on the long term? Well, I personally don't believe that the stock is in a accumulation zone right now, in an accumulation zone, right? But I believe that once it hits the $25 range, that is probably when I'll start buying, because that is a good valuation for the stock. And I do believe that the stock will get into the $20 to $25 range before the earnings report comes out, because as you guys can see, we've been approaching the earnings report, and that is pretty much why the stock is in somewhat of a confusion, I would say, right? The investors are in somewhat of a confusion. They can't really make up their minds on whether they want to buy or sell, right? The short sellers are always around the corner. Now, even if the stock goes up or down, I want to let you guys know that it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you make money, so you can do that by, trading options as well. But if you're a long-term investor, definitely you guys can buy under the $28 range, in my opinion, not financial advice. But now to analyze the stock for swing trades, let's quickly jump into the 1-hour chart. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1-hour chart for Shop. And right off the bat, you guys can see that we've been in somewhat of a state where the stock went up after going down, right? Now, this sounds confusing, but what I mean to say is that the stock opened in a gap down, and people used that opportunity on the intraday basis to buy that. But after that, over here on 20th September, we can see that the stock pretty much just went into an entirely bearish state. Now, if you ask me what's my prediction for the 1-hour chart, I believe that we might get, I obviously told you that we might get a gap down on Monday, but after that, we'll probably repeat this movement over here that we'll go down and then the accumulation phase hits in, right? The intraday traders, they'll start buying and at the end, they'll start selling. The next day, Tuesday might open in a huge gap down, right? That really depends on the Monday performance, but I believe that Tuesday might be a huge gap down. Why do I believe it? Well, it's pretty much my intuition, but I've traded for long enough to know that my intuition might actually be correct. Now, if we look at the last candle that we made, right, this was 23rd September's last candle. We can see that it was pretty much a pin bar candle where the stock was pushed up, but it went down anyways, right? We can see that we made a similar candle over here, even though we made a bullish pin bar candle over here, right? These seem to be a sign of a reversal in my opinion, right? Because we did make a lot of volume over here, right? We did get an insider candle somewhat, and after that, I do believe that we might get a gap down and then a bearish trend over here. We might even hit the $25 range on Tuesday itself. But I do believe that once the stock goes down to the $25 range, institutions might start buying, and even Google might think that, hey, it's at a discounted valuation. Maybe we should acquire the company. But with that being said, let's jump into the 5-minute chart. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 5-minute chart, and right off the bat, we can see that there is a resistance over here around the $29 range, right? That's pretty obvious, honestly, that the $29 range would act as a psychological resistance, and we have a psychological support around $28 as well. If we look closely at what happened in the starting of 23rd September's trading session, we can see that we got an engulfing candle on 22nd September's closing, and that same trend continued and got confirmed over here in the next trading session. After which, of course, it was a bearish sign, so we went down and we hit this low that we made of $27.66. After that, as you guys can see, the market kind of climbed up. It was an accumulation zone. After that, we were getting supported constantly around the $28 level, but now I believe that the $28 level will probably be, discarded or rather defeated on Monday. So if you ask me what my short-term outlook for the stock is, I'm bearish on it short-term, but I am bullish on it long-term because Shopify might be the only competitor standing in Amazon's way, and even Amazon might offer to acquire the stock. And honestly, it's kind of a confusing thing, but it might happen in the future. But definitely Shop probably won't sell the company, to Amazon. They will probably wait for Google to acquire it, or rather Facebook or some other, because Facebook already has the Facebook marketplace. So with that being said, my short-term target for the stock continues to be the $25 range, and my long-term target is definitely not as much as the Bank of Canada analysis, right? It's not $60, but I would give it a short-term or rather a long-term trend of about $40. So $40 would be my target after accumulating around $25. But I could be wrong, so remember that this is not financial advice. You should always do your own research before you trade. And with that being said, if you enjoyed my analysis, be sure to hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, be sure to hit the dislike button. Subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for more such videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.